There's a big movie tonight at Columbia. It's called Tragic Awakenings. There's a lot of documentaries out, a lot of movies out about October the 7th. Some are better than others. This one is a good one. We'll talk to the director of this fine film being showed at Columbia tonight when we get back on the Monday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning.
There's never a dull moment here.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
Later on tonight at Columbia University, they're going to show a film. My friend Rivka Satz. Rivka, who, when she texts me, it actually pops up, I'm Yisrael Chai. It's amazing. She's invited me to this, been telling me about this documentary for weeks, and I'm very happy to have this gentleman on the phone with us right now. I think he's in Africa. I'm not even sure exactly where he is, but let me tell you about him. His name is Wayne Copping. This guy's the real deal. He's done films which include Obsession, The Third Jihad. He's shaped policy, education, and law enforcement training. Was Beneath the Helmet another one? He's done a bunch of really, really good movies. He's director and editor of Tragic Awakening, which is a very powerful film exploring the roots of anti-Semitism. Are you in South Africa, Wayne? Is that where you are?
Yes, I'm in deep, dark South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Oh, my God. Well, Johannesburg is beautiful, no?
No, it is. It's great, and it's sunny, and it's just so great to be speaking to you, Sid. Thank you so much for having me, really.
No, this is an honor. It's an honor for me. I know you're in Johannesburg today. Do you split your time between Africa and New York? How does that work?
Mainly between South Africa and Israel, but I spend a lot of time in the States, and I'll be there in the next few weeks promoting the film as well and doing some speaking engagements. So it's a small world now, so we all get around.
It is a small Jewish world now, Wayne, and, we're going through so much here in New York. I try to get back to Israel as much as I possibly can. I'll be going back for a third time this month, next month, April, in just 13 months. So I keep going back and try to really figure out the dynamic between the Arabs and the Jews and why Hamas would do what they did and all that. And the more you go to Israel, I think the more you learn. I think people here in the United States that opine on the Middle East and Israel and the relationship, they know very little. I don't think you can really have a real good grasp of what's going on unless you set foot in Israel. What do you think?
Without a doubt. 5 minutes in Israel and you start to see all the lies literally fall apart. You start to see the apartheid lie fall apart. You start to see the occupation lie fall apart. And the whole thing is built on a house of cards. And the enemies, look, Israel's not a perfect country. No one's perfect, blah, 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 blah. But the entire anti-Israel, genocidal, movement against Israel is all built in a house of cards. And 5 minutes there, and you realize what's really going on.
And when you say a house of cards, 9 times out of 10, Wayne, the house of cards fall. And I'm hoping between the pressure coming from President Trump in D.C., very courageous, congresswomen like Elise Stefanik here in New York, people like you, quite frankly, making important documentaries, that house of cards seems like it can finally fall. Are you that optimistic?
There's always new players, but I think to continue your analogy, I think as long as everybody is in the game, then if they try to restack the deck, they won't get too far if everyone is just applying their mind and playing the game with those cards instead of waiting for them to fall.
I think most people showed how ignorant, naive, and in certain cases stupid they were. I got to tell you, Wayne, I was not surprised that the world, and even our government here, because I never thought Joe Biden was a very good guy to begin with, so I was never, ever really surprised the reaction after October 7th. People thought, oh, my God, everybody's going to love us. I'm like, no, they're not. As soon as Israel goes to defend themselves, they're going to become the bad guys. And that's exactly what happened. And now anti-Semitism is at an all-time high in just about every country, including the United States, across the world. And I know that's basically what this documentary, Tragic Awakening, is about, how anti-Semitism has just exploded since October the 7th, when any rational person would think it would have gone the other way.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And, one of the first things we show in the film is actually the protest happened even before Israel retaliated, which I think even strengthens your points even further. The other point, though, that we're trying to make is that we shouldn't be so surprised that anti-Semitism raises its head, because it's, as we show, it's like literally in every single generation it raises its head. And what we try to do in the film is we try to say that, you know, Jewish history only repeats itself if we misinterpret what we're going through or we make the same mistakes. And what we're trying to show is that the certain misconceptions that we all have about Jewish history and Israel and our role in the world, those need to be looked at and examined. And once we get past those misconceptions, then we can start to see what's really going on. And that's when the film really starts to gather speed, and we bring a whole new angle to this debate, which I can't wait for you to see tonight.
No, I can't wait too. And, you know, it's funny you use the word misconceptions. And, you know, I think in a lot of cases, in too many cases, Wayne, it's not misconceptions. I really think a lot of these people know exactly they're on the wrong side. But it's become so chic to hate the Jews. And for people that have been doing this their whole lives, it doesn't matter what evidence you present to them that would make people, you know, that say Jewish people are great people. They're this. They just, hating Jews is old, and people do it with such fervor that they're not confused. They just love hating Jews.
Yeah, part of what we show in the film, and I don't want to give anything away now. I don't want to do it an injustice, is that we actually see that this idea of Jew hatred is actually built into humanity. It's part of what makes humanity tick, and every single generation, every single human being is basically making a choice which side they're going to be on, the side of light or the side of darkness. And it's built into what it means to be a human being. Which way are we going to go, the good side or the not good side? And it sounds like these are very big woofy-floofy concepts, but they really come down to something very, very basic and very, very simple, and that is, are there ideas that are objectively true and objectively good in the world? Or is there no such thing as good and evil? I think our enemies would say there's no such thing as good and evil. But we are, you know, there's such a thing as good, there's such a thing as evil, and after October 7th, the entire world could see what evil actually was.
This is Wayne Copping. He's a director and editor of Tragic Awakening. They're going to show it tonight, of all places, at Columbia University. I mean, it is ironic that you're going to show this film at a place that has become the go-to, the lead, if you will, the winner of Jew hatred in New York, and maybe even across the United States.
Yeah, listen, we're hoping that there aren't going to be protests. We're hoping that the star of our film, Rowan Osman, an Arab Zionist, as she calls herself, she's going to be speaking at the event. We're hoping there aren't going to be protests because, you know, there have been protests at other screenings, predictably. But, you know, the question is why? You know, why do they keep on protesting? And it's one thing to protest, but why shut down the debate? Why shut down the speakers? And, you know, like, truth doesn't fear debate. Lies do. And if your ideas can't survive a 90-minute movie, a 50-minute movie plus, you know, a 30-minute talk by Rowan Osman, if your ideas can't survive that, maybe your ideas aren't that strong. So the protest, you know, they think they're brave, but really they're afraid of some kind of truth coming out. And this is what you were alluding to earlier about going to Israel, that if the real truth comes out, their entire ideology falls apart. So instead of letting people use their brains, they're going to rather use their voices to make sure that people can't hear the message.
Well, I would ask you this. Is this documentary, which is factual, but is this documentary being shot as quote-unquote pro-Israel? Because if it is, they're going to be out there in big numbers tonight.
It's a film about anti-Semitism. And so to answer the question, is the film pro-Israel? So here's the thing. It's like the story of anti-Semitism isn't about the anti-Semites. It's about the Jewish people, and it's about Israel. And it's about what our history actually is. And so if that makes it pro-Israel, you know, it makes it, there's a sense of clarity that we're trying to bring to this conversation that I think has been missing and lacking. And it's not as binary as pro or against.
Gotcha.
Looking at what Israel actually means from a completely different perspective to the way people might look at it today. And so what we're trying to do is change the conversation, because the way we've been having this conversation is just getting us nowhere. So we present a bit of a new paradigm, and once you see that paradigm, many other things start to fall into place. And many people have told us that they finally understand why things are happening the way they are. So I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts, and if I'm overselling it or underselling it, but that's our goal.
No, it sounds like it's going to be terrific. Tragic awakening, folks. And for folks that are not going to be at Columbia University tonight, this is a private crowd. How will people get to see this amazing documentary in the very, very near future?
Right. So right now we'll be doing select screenings, and people can actually book their own screenings for the university, the community, at tragicawakening.com. We're also doing some online screenings. So it's not available wide yet, but you definitely can get your hands on it and set up screenings and bring the filmmakers, bring Rwanda to your community, to your area, because it's about starting a conversation. We're starting a new conversation.
Are you going to have a screening in Israel? I'm heading there at April 26th for both Memorial Day and Independence Day, which is a huge celebration, as you know, all across Israel, April the 30th. Will you be showing this movie in Israel?
Yes, I believe there's actually a screening on the, if I'm not mistaken, around about there will be a screening around about that time. Go to tragicawakening.com for details, and I'm sure Rivka will also give you the details so you can make sure that you see it there.
I will. Listen, congratulations to you. It sounds like you've done a tremendous job here. I can't wait to see it. I know I speak on behalf of a very, very big audience, not just in New York, but around the world that feels the same. So congratulations, Wayne Copping, and I'll see you and talk to you again very, very soon. Good work, my friend.
Looking forward. Thank you so much, Sid. All the best.
You too. God bless you. Enjoy Johannesburg. That's a beautiful place. My man's in Johannesburg. How about that? Wayne Copping.